So what is up, guys? Welcome on back to TK's Garage. And it looks like we're going to see a big change coming out of the big three. And I'm talking about Stellantis, Ford, and General Motors coming up here in 2026. And we're going to talk about why. As the United States Senate has now summoned all the three CEOs as well as the vice president of Tesla to come testify in a Senate hearing about prices of vehicles and, emissions. All right, y'all, the holiday season is coming up, and if you're like me, you're probably already thinking about what you're going to get for your family and friends. I wanted something that was actually useful, something they'll carry every single day. Something like this. This is one of the things that I carry every day, my Extter wallets. Now, this is the Extter Card Holder Pro, the world's best-selling smart wallet. It's made from 100% recycled aluminum, slim but tough. It blocks RFID, so all those people you could run into at the airport or somewhere else, no one's going to be able to skim your cards or your information. It holds up to 14 cards and cash, and it just feels premium. This one I actually got for my favorite person to kind of change their outlook on a bunch of stuff when it comes to carrying a ton of cards. One of the things I also like from Extter, if you're traveling this holiday season, is Exter's travel vacuum kit. It's a travel pack vacuum kit. It's a solid pick. It keeps everything organized and saves space. And for my Android folks, they also have these new trackers, the Finder cards. It's rechargeable with a cable, so you can track your wallet anytime. I actually have one from the iOS edition they have as well in my Extter wallet. So if I carry, because I carry the Android and the iPhones, I'm able to see both. They're running their Black Friday sale right now. It's up to 50% off. Plus, if you use my code TK's Garage, it's TKS Garage, you'll get an extra 10% off at checkout. Hit the link in the description, or you can scan the QR code that's on screen. Trust me, they make awesome gifts that people actually want. And I got to give a major thanks to Extter for sponsoring this part of the video. And like I said, guys, I don't talk about products unless I actually use them. And you can see that this one is thoroughly used. And I'm sure my family's going to love these. So what is up, guys? Welcome on back to TK's Garage. And yes, finally, the emissions nonsense is being brought up in the Senate. And it's being brought directly to the three major car companies that operate in the United States, being Stellantis, owning Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram, as well as a bunch of other bullshit, and Ford and General Motors. Now, is there some drastic thing gonna change overnight because of this hearing? No, but the fact that they're even going to have the damn hearing is huge. What do they want to talk about? Well, they want to talk about how much money can be saved if these emission systems are no longer put on these vehicles. And I'm talking about diesels for the most part. No more diesel exhaust fluid, no diesel particulate filters. We know that Ford is now putting in, I can't believe that this is a thing, but gasoline particulate filter. I don't even know what the hell that shit is. They're putting new emissions crap on gasoline vehicles. Like I had somebody contact me that has a Raptor, and he was wondering if they were still going to do that. Maybe. I don't know. And I thought it was somebody like bullshitting me or sending me something in email where I was like, wait a minute, this can't be real, right? It is. And I think, and all it does is make these vehicles more and more and more and more and more expensive. It's not making these vehicles any cheaper at all. So, what's going to change? What is the purpose of the hearing? Well, the hearing is to get these executives, and Antonio Filosa from Stellantis has been invited. I wish they would have invited somebody like Tim. Yeah, I know Tim's going to be like, don't volunteer me for that shit.
I guarantee Tim Guinness was like, don't volunteer me for that shit. But I think as a performance guy, I think Tim would be a much better. I'm not saying that it wouldn't come across well with Antonio there. I think Antonio's a great car guy, and he's showing himself to be a competent CEO at Stellantis. But I think Tim would be able to, relate that message in terms of not just horsepower or whatever, but reliability, not having to have this bullshit on vehicles at the U.S. Senate than maybe Antonio will. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Antonio steals the show. We'll see. I mean, he's been surprising me since he's become the CEO. So every time I was like, damn it, this is not going to be good. It ends up being good. So the biggest part of this, or the part that should matter to you the most, is we're set to possibly get some changes to the way the Senate operates. And why this matters in terms of this hearing that they're going to have in January in 2026, why this matters is if they get rid of the filibuster, we're going to instantly have some changes. Now, I've seen some things on TikTok and Instagram here in the last 30 days where somebody was able to order a fully deleted GMC Sierra diesel truck with no def, no nothing in it. There was no def cap. It was deleted from the factory with factory leakage. Now they do have that. That's a real thing. We see this with military vehicles. They are not required to have any emission systems at all on them. And I've talked about this before. Anytime I've driven like F-250s or 350s or whatever on base, they're factory deleted. I'm wondering if this Diesel Truck Liberation Act is going to actually gain traction. We're going to get rid of the filibuster in the Senate, and they're setting this stuff up to be able to do hearings. And it's not like a CYA, but they use what these CEOs are going to say as cover for saying, hey, look, we're just, and I'm doing this just by looking at analysis, right? Looking at analytics. And when you really think about it, like, what are they talking about right now in the news? Affordability, right? Everything from Mondami as the mayor of New York, which that's going to be a friggin' shit show, but that's a whole different thing. Mondami in New York to the president talking about, gas prices are cheaper. We're going to get the price of eggs down. We got rid of the tariffs on coffee. We're going to lower the prices of goods. It's becoming a thing of prices, right? So if I'm looking at that, and now the Senate is pushing to do this hearing at the beginning of January, speaking about emission systems and how much it does what? Increases the prices of the vehicles. And it's going to come down to them doing this hearing, I think they will pass some sort of removal of this emissions crap, because I don't even think the filibuster is going to be here come January. And it's going to give the Republicans cover to say, hey, we're doing this to save Americans money, and dare Democrats that happen to be in Michigan or Ohio or whatever to vote against it. Because it could be one of those things where I could see Slotkin from Michigan vote for it. Vote for the Diesel Truck Liberation Act. Vote for cheaper prices on vehicles manufactured in the United States. I could 100% see that. So that is the big news. I saw this on Bloomberg the other day. A couple of you guys emailed me about it as well. And it will be interesting to see how Barra responds from General Motors, because, she's been such a huge dick-riding EV fan, right? Even though they're not selling, they're having to cut shifts, they're having to lay people off at General Motors because their EV future doesn't look so bright. At least Stellantis got with the program there and figured out, this might not work. Let's pull back this truck for now. Let's pull this other crap back. Let's get rid of this 4xe shit. And Ford has been pretty much doing the same thing in terms of pulling back their EV production. Now, could that change? Sure, if there's a demand for it, but there doesn't look like there's a ton of demand. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Do you think doing a hearing like this is just CYA for them to be able to push through a bill? Because I think that's what this is going to be. I think this is going to be a thing to talk about affordability of vehicles for Americans. And then they're going to have that hearing, and they're going to use what comes out of that hearing to push something through like the Diesel Truck Liberation Act, or something along those lines to get rid of the costly maintenance and repair and adding of these emission systems on cars and trucks. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Give the video a big thumbs up if you like what I do. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. And as always, stay petty, my friends.